Hey, I'm Jonathan Pierce, CEO of CloudSalesCoach.com. I've got with me Sam Menchinger, who was a sales engineer at a company I used to work at. We won't
hmm
mention them because they're not paying us to plug their companies, right? So both we both enjoyed working with each other. At least I enjoy working with you. I'll say it that way. And I never, really have we just stayed in touch.
Yep.
You're in a different company now. You're over at CNP Technologies out of
hmm
Charlotte. You got a baby. All the cool things about life are happening to you. So I invited you onto this call. So everybody's watching this on YouTube. I invited Sam to come on here and do my Sell Me This Pen challenge. And also
hmm
just to talk about, I think it's really unique meeting someone who is a sales engineer and sort of how that fits within the sales pipeline for a SaaS company or MSSP. Everyone, sometimes we get siloed. Sometimes sales engineers get siloed and, they're used to other sort of work behaviors and skills, and they come into a culture and they don't understand maybe the sales pipeline and how that works and how things should work. So I worked at a couple different companies and I've seen a couple of tips that I've had for sales engineers. Actually, six tips. I put it on my website. People can go out there and click on the role at the top and choose sales engineer. I've got six tips out there for sales engineers. But why just, and I'm a Zscaler sales engineer. I got certified in it. But why
hmm
just talk about tips when I could just have a sales engineer
There
on?
you go.
So Sam, talk to us. Tell us, maybe for a background, a sales engineer out there or an AE who wants to shift over to the tech side. Tell
hmm
people what your journey's been like and maybe they can gauge for themselves, is that the career or is that the role they want? And
Sure.
you're kind of teetering back and before, the AE and the SE role. So what do you like
hmm
best? Just tell us all, kind of you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so kind of how I got here, my story and background. I really started in real estate, was my first sales job as a real estate agent here in Charlotte. And parts of it I liked, parts of it I didn't. I kind of had a calling for tech to begin with. So I knew that was the direction I was getting pulled in. So I ended up getting into local IT company here as an engineer, not doing sales, just as a real engineer, a field engineer. Did that for a couple of years, got some certifications under my belt, and no college degree either. So really certifications were a requirement to kind of climb up that ladder. So got some certifications under my belt, found cybersecurity through those certifications, really fell in love with it, really enjoyed it. And from there, went to the company that Jonathan had mentioned where we had met and started off there also as just a cybersecurity engineer, but very quickly transitioned into the sales engineer side of the house, working with Jonathan and other sales folks there, talking through the products, knowing the product like the back of my hand, and bringing that technical knowledge into the sales calls. And then from there, got to CNP Technologies. And weird story here too, started as a sales engineer, now doing some account exec account management work. So just a lot of shifting. But one thing I've found is that at the end of the day, you're still in sales, whether you're a sales engineer, you're an account exec, account manager, it doesn't matter. We all kind of have the same bottom line here. So it's all sales. It's just how are you looking at the sale? As a sales engineer, you're probably looking at it a little bit differently than an account exec or manager.
Yeah. No, and so thanks for sharing that background. So for anybody watching this too, I mean, as an AE and a SE, you
Mhm.
know, and I use those terms, account executive, sales engineer. So for sure, AE, SE, really like what has been the things that you loved about each role, or, like if you had to choose, and someone out there watching this video, because people are watching these videos, I'm helping Series C companies right now and
hmm
coming to me going, oh, what is it like to be that? What advice would you give to people who are an SE and maybe they want to, cross-functionally learn the AE role? Like, what's
Yeah.
the goods and bads? Like, tell us your perspective.
Yeah. I mean, the most fun and best part about being a sales engineer is if you really enjoy technology from an engineering perspective, knowing how things work, kind of knowing some of the nooks and crannies, the ins and outs, really being detailed in your knowledge about it. If you enjoy that, that is the draw of being a sales engineer because you get to gain this knowledge of what's hopefully a fun and exciting tool to you, and then bring that to customers. And what I have found to be successful as a sales engineer is to just share that enthusiasm, right? We're not here to be pushy. We're not here to try and swindle any customers. Just show up, have enthusiasm about the technology that you've learned and that you've grown to love, and just share that with people on the other end of the phone. and they'll really resonate with that. Just with that excitement, especially if they're a technical person, that they'll naturally click with you. So that's the best part of being a sales engineer is just being excited about tech and kind of nerding out with just new people every day. And then for the account exec role, the more fun part of that is just taking the reins and a little bit more ownership over the deal itself, kind of being the point person. The sales pipeline ultimately usually falls in the account executive. Suppose it depends on where you work, but from my experience, that's what it's been. And that level of ownership and that desire to lead and to drive sales forwards is the exciting part. It's the fulfilling part. You still, if you have the tech background, you can still use that information and share it with customers and still have that excitement. All of that is still there. But I think the leadership aspect of it has been really fulfilling. So if you're on one end of the aisle looking to get into the other, I'd say if you're an AE and you want to be a sales engineer, I would start with certifications. Identify technology or a practice in IT that you want to start with. Get some certifications under your belt. You don't have to go for the Mac Daddy certification either. Start with something simple if you want to, and take it from there, and just figure out what you like and what you don't like. I think that's really what is going to help you the most in being a sales engineer is really liking the technology that you're learning and understanding and presenting to customers.
Yeah.
Uh, and then to the sales engineer who wants to get into the account exec side, no certifications here that I know of. There's sales certs out there, sure. But you really got to practice that sales bone. There's a lot of good books and resources out there. There's a guy named Jonathan Pierce that I know. He does great sales coaching. So link up with somebody like that, grow and really work that sales muscle, and it'll come naturally, in my opinion.
Well, that's good feedback. Anybody watching this, really, I think is gonna, be able to reach out to you. So maybe when I go post this video, again, if you want, share your email of personal
Sure.
business, and people can reach out to you because you're a good beacon, a good lighthouse out there. You've done both. And
Hmm.
I think it is, for someone who doesn't degree up, the way to get in and get your foot in is find technology that you like, is
Yeah.
what I'm hearing from you, and take that foot like, hey, I really loved this product or that product. I want to know more about it, become, more of an expert at it. And some of the things you mentioned too at the beginning. Now, as an AE, my AE brain works on these calls, and I have a piece of paper and I'm scribbling things that you say because they're
Hmm.
important. And I do that with customers too. So you talk about, coaching and AE is different from a SE, but at the end of the day, I have this analogy. I'm going to throw it at you, and
Okay.
tell me how accurate this is.
Sure.
An SDR is like your wingman in a bar.
Hmm.
Him or her. They're gonna go over there to that girl. I'm a guy. I'm gonna say girl, but hey, I want to get that girl's number. She's
Yep.
cute. I'd like to know her more. The SDR, hey, go get her number for me. He's gonna walk over there. Hey, that guy over there thinks you're cute. Could he buy you a drink?
Hmm.
And they're going to just soften the ice a little, right? That's what an SDR when they cold call, hey, what's got you at this bar? What's got you looking at this tech or that tech?
Yep.
Could you talk with Sam, since you're an AE right now,
Hmm.
about this? And that's kind of what I think of the SDR and even inbound marketing. Your website is all set up to go, hey, if you're this, if you have this pain, or if you're looking for this tool and these features, talk to us. And when
Mm.
when the AE takes over, you talked about ownership. The AE is the guy building the relationship with the girl, with that other person that's going to go meet her parents, and it's that
Exactly.
long-term thing. You're carrying the customer through the cycle, and the sales engineer. My analogy for them is they're my best friend. They're my at the wedding. I'm trying to get married to this person, right?
Yeah.
That's my best man
Yep.
because the tech and just the process are married together. They're best buds. You need to bring your SE to the calls, make sure the customer understands all those questions and those little things that go, oh yeah, but what if it does this and I can't.
Hmm.
So in order for this marriage to happen, right, you're gonna have a wedding, and that's all the legal, right? That's your directors and the quotes, all the numbers,
Yep.
right? And then you're gonna get married, and the deal is gonna get done. But
Hmm.
for a sales engineer to be the best man, or what, again, best woman, what the best friend, is that accurate? What do you
Oh
think?
yeah.
What's
Yeah.
out
That's
analogy?
That's a funny analogy. I've never heard that one before. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. You know, the sales engineer is only there to help, right? The sales engineer has some good information. And to stick with your analogy, you know, maybe like the best man speech, and that sales engineer knows something about this person or this product that maybe the AE is not up there saying. And so the sales engineer is here to assist, to say good things, to build up the AE, the product, and drive the sale forward.
Yeah, and you're a really good sales engineer for me over at the company we work together. And
I
again,
appreciate that.
a lot of people don't realize, but I closed $750,000 my first quarter. I started on June 6th. The quarter started on July 1st. That was basically, 15 business days or so. And I did it through cold calling because cold calling is hot. It's not dead. It's not cold. Cold calling is hot. It is not dead. People aren't answering
hmm
emails unless they're very succinct and low, flying under the radar, very short, grabbers. But I was so successful because I believed and I knew cold calling. I used to work in insurance at State Farm, and so I used to cold dial, 150 a day. And I've had people online go, Jonathan, you've never been an SDR. Son, I've cold called 150 people a day, over 150,000 people. Don't
Yeah,
tell
man,
me
it
I've
all blends together.
An SDR is a cold caller. You're doing some
hmm
email, and then those skills for an AE that doesn't know how to do that. I had joined a startup and my SDRs were greener than the grass outside in the summer, and
mm
I was training them how to cold call. And I basically was my own SDR. So, if you learn the skills, learn them because you never know what you're going to do. So if you're an SE, don't be siloed into thinking, hey, I'm an SE and that's all I'll be.
Yeah.
Your company may change. You may hop to another one, and then look, you're an AE right now. Hell, I left and I did a startup, and I was an SDR / AE, and then
Yeah.
the directors didn't have a good go-to-market strategy, so I was helping them too. And then the CEO, I mean, just always be ready for the next challenge, whether you're degreed or not. I think that's good advice.
Yeah.
Would you add anything to that?
Yeah, I would, yeah, for for all the sales engineers out there, and I've seen it happen before where the sales engineer tends to fall into a little bit of a rhythm where, hey, I'm just here to talk tech and I'm not driving the sale forward. Like, hey, this is Jonathan's sale. I'm just going to say what I need to say from the technical side, then I'm shutting up and it's over. Don't be afraid to drive the sale forward. Don't be afraid to take some ownership there because it reflects well on you at the end of the day, you and the AE, you're after the same goal. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to get a little salesy, drive the sale forward. And I mean, ultimately, you're just building yourself up too. You know, you're increasing your own stock. When people realize, hey, this SE, he doesn't just jump on the call. He or she just doesn't just jump on the call and just blur some tech stuff. You know, same script every single time. But they're really helping out. They're really helping bring things to a close. I think people will recognize that.
Can remember a six-figure deal I was doing with you, and I think we did a prep call to go, hey, Sam, here's the pain points I'm hearing. Let's focus on those.
hmm
Where another sales engineer that didn't end up working out at the time for other various reasons, they would just get on that call and just say, that speech they had rehearsed or script.
Yep.
You would get on the call and go, hey, so Jonathan says you guys are dealing with this or that. Is that the agenda for the call? Is there any other curiosities? And then we dove into what mattered to them. So it's
hmm
customer centric and it focused on solving the pains that they had with the solution. So you didn't, what I call feature vomit all over the place. And that's what
Yep.
makes you the best sales engineer. I think one of the best.
Best sales engineer. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you know who I've worked with, and then
Uh-huh.
I had another great one at the last company, but you're killer, man. So, I know that anybody out there watching this is going to reach out to you. Comment, below and talk to Sam. He'll
hmm
respond to you. Reach out to him. Dude, what else is going on? What else is on your mind that maybe you wanted to share about your sales career journey today? Before we do the sales.
Before we do that, oh man, I think we hit a lot of the high notes there. Um, I mean, and this is for everybody, sales engineers, account execs, account managers, SDRs. There's opportunity out there. There really is. There's a lot of opportunity out there. So you've got to be a go-getter. You've got to go and chase after it. You know, I wouldn't wait for anything to fall in your lap, especially if you're considering transitioning from SE to AE, account management, SDR to AE, whatever it is. Don't wait for that to fall in your lap. You've got to go and make it happen.
Yeah, no, that's great advice too. Well, I anticipate people reaching out to you, so don't
Yeah,
charge
please
me
do.
or bill me for your cell phone text message to the roof or what.
I might.
Awesome. Well, again, congrats on everything you're doing, everything that you got going on. Are
Thank
you
you.
ready to do the next segment where we do sell me this pen?
I don't, you just said I was the best sales engineer, and now it's not going to look like that, but sure, yeah, we can do this.
Well, here's the cool thing is anybody watching this video will go, I'm a sales engineer. That's also what I would say. Like
Hmm.
they're gonna put themselves in your shoes, so they're probably
Yeah.
they're rallying like I'm gonna get my red solo cup and cheers them, when
I hope so. I hope so.
so okay, so the idea of this again, there's a Jordan Belfort, Wolf on Wall Street, sell me this pen. So I
Hmm.
got a pen. I grabbed a random pen. It doesn't matter what it is. But Jordan Belfort, I noticed after doing all these deals and closing 500K deals, I went from 50K to 500K where we used to work together, and I
Hmm.
understood there's different dynamics in that. But I understood that the deals in my pipeline that were closing were the ones where I was heavily tracking pain and I could pinpoint the pain very well. And I understood that old phrase of money follows pain. So
Hmm.
when I was just, going on to the next startup and then considering consulting, I did some consulting work. That company found success very quickly. They closed a $4 million deal. It was the largest deal they've ever done in less than 3 months.
Hmm.
And he said, it's because of what you taught us, Jonathan. So I started sitting down and just thinking about what I coached them through. And I had consulted from SDR, BDR, AE, sales engineer, marketing director, chief operations officer, and the CEO from the whole
Hmm.
sales pipeline and got their perspective. And everything I kept hearing was no one was focused on pain. And that pain message it wasn't in the website, it wasn't in the marketing, it wasn't in the SDR. If the AE found it, the SE got on and just feature vomited. There was
Yep.
no unifying message of pain, why your customers were there, why people were choosing you. It was hey, we're this company, here's our logos, here's the things we sell, blah, blah, blah. It was so disconnected. So I wasn't surprised when they got, their success very quick. But then I sat down, I said, there's something to this. Let me write a book about it. And so I wrote my first paper a year ago on it. I call it the PTV method. And I will break down the PTV method at the end of this call. So we'll do that, but let's go ahead
Okay.
and see first without the PTV method.
All right.
I want you to sell me this pen like you would sell anything else out in the world. Today's pen, let's see, it's a Bic Velocity, so not the cheapie. I think
Okay.
this one's probably 60 cents for this pen. It writes in black ink. You can see through it. So, hey, maybe you can see the ink, right? And where it's at, if it's full or not.
Hmm.
Got a little rubber grip, but imagine this is in your hands and
Sure.
try to sell me this pen. Now, again, I said it costs 60 cents.
Hmm.
Don't sell it to me you need to make a profit on this. So
Hey.
sell it to me for the highest dollar amount that you think you can.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So I'm just to start with some questions here, Jonathan. What pen are you currently using today?
And again, for everybody out there watching, imagine that Sam is holding this pen. So that,
Yes, just imagine it here.
yeah, you got it. So right now, honestly, man, I've got a big pen. I got like 10 of them in my book bag over here. Now, not as nice as your big pen, of course. I got one of the, black and white cheapies. Yeah.
Hmm. Sure. And what do you use those big pens for? What's the usual use case?
God, if I have to muster out and go to my safe and write a check for something, to get my tag renewed or pay property tax. Other than that, maybe write down somebody's phone number
Okay.
yeah.
So all personal use. You're just using it at your home for convenient things, checks, writing down a note on a piece of paper. It's not leaving the house. You're just keeping it with you there for personal use.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have a couple in the truck, in case, I'm out and I would need a pen. But, I just buy a pack of the 20, cheapos at Walmart. And I mean, that's kind of sure, everything's digital. That's kind of my life now.
Sure. Yeah. Why would you need some pens in the truck? What do you typically take them out for?
I mean, maybe once in a blue moon, if somebody writes me a check and the digital deposit on my, bank app doesn't work, I would drive into the teller, and if I'm too bored to get out, I'd just go through the ATM drive-through thing and talk to somebody and use a pin there.
Yeah. Are people writing you checks for business use cases? I mean, are you running a business and using these pens for that as well?
Yeah, I mean everything's pretty much digital, so yeah, I mean it's just gonna be some random guy who writes me a check, or maybe shoot a loved one, or grandmother sends a check to my kid, and
Sure.
I deposit it at the bank for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah, awesome. Well, how have those pens worked for you today? I mean, they sounds like they're convenient. You bring them around, but how do they really work for you when you write that check, when you write that note? I mean, is it a satisfying experience?
no, it's pretty low. It's
Yeah,
it's like yeah, I'm like, is it gonna work half the time, but they don't really.
yeah. Well, how would you like it to work? If these pens were better, what would that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if they worked more than half the time, then I'd probably have less of them. But I think a good thing about having so many is, well, I don't have to remember where they are. I can just, throw a bag in the truck, throw a bag around,
Sure.
just whatever I can use.
One of them will work, right? You got 10 of them. Hopefully one works.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're buying boxes of 20. How much is a box of 20 pens?
Box 20 fans, shoot, they're probably $2, so 10 cents each. Yeah.
$2, 10 cents each. Okay. And you got to lug them around wherever you go, 10 of them at least, so that one will work for you. That's all correct.
Yeah.
Well, look, man, I'm sorry to hear, but this is really a story that I hear all the time, whether it's Bic or any brand. When you go with these cheaper, lighter pens, you have to buy a box of 10 or more for this exact reason. You go and write a check, and what happens is nothing happens, right? You go and write, and you just get a little indentation on your paper of what you thought was going to be a signature. Um, So I'm glad you called, Jonathan, because what we actually have here is a Bic Velocity pen. So it's same brand, a brand you're going to be familiar with in black ink. Now, what I really like about this pen is that it works every time you use it. Okay. So there's no more lugging around 10 pens, not having 10 pens in your drawer at home, 10 in the car so somebody can write you a check. This is one pen. Put it in your pocket, take it around your house, take it in the truck, take it wherever you need to go. It's going to write every single time. It's also a more satisfying experience because it has a nice little grip on the end of it, so that when you go to write, it's also comfortable, right? Which normally you wouldn't think you need when you're writing a pen, but one of those things that once you have it, you realize, wow, I can't believe I went my whole life without it.
Yeah.
Um, so let me ask you this as well. If we could reduce how many pens you have lying around, would that be an overall net positive thing for you?
That's a good question. As a salesperson, I'm just going to parentheses this. That's a good move there. I think that's a good weighing and valuing this. So let me answer now. Let me respond to that.
Mhm.
So I have three kids, and the number of pens I have does, and if I had less pens, it would increase the risk that they would want to draw or doodle, and they're bored and screaming and crying. So having more pens for me, is probably a good thing.
Probably a good thing. Okay. Well, you're only paying like a $2, I think you said 10 cents per
Yeah.
pen. That's not really a big expense, right? I'm sure you're not breaking the bank here on the pens you have today, right?
Right. Yeah. No, not breaking the bank at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's hey, I'm glad to hear that. Um, so Jonathan, I guess I'm a bit confused here. You've got 10 pens lying around. You want to have more pens. You're okay with the fact that they don't really write all the time. So I guess I'm just wondering, why are we having this call today? I mean, are you interested in looking at new pens?
You're doing really good. You're trying to qualify me and make sure that we should even be talking. That's perfect.
Hmm.
You're trying to get rid of me if I'm a waste of your time. That's, definitely a second or third level on, into going, hey, maybe this guy isn't going to buy. There's not enough pain here. It's perfect.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, having kids, I don't want high quality pens that, you know, I'm going to lose. They're going to break all
Oh
those
yeah.
things. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right, Sam. I think maybe I
Well,
just keep my own game plan going. I'm sorry you didn't get a sale today, but yeah,
hey, well, look, we have more expensive pens. I have this fully metal. I'm not sure if it's Bic. I'm not sure what the brand is. I have this full metal pen, writes excellently. It's like $5 a pen. I would never sell it to you. You got kids running around the house. There's no doubt in my mind one of those kids is going to take that pen, throw it, lose it, whatever it is. What I think we need to do here, Jonathan, since you're lugging around so many pens and they don't really work most of the time, I can give you four or five of these big pens. They're $1 a pop, and you just keep a couple in the house, keep a couple in the truck. It's better than having 10 here and 10 there. It's $5, right? I mean, it's barely more than what you're spending today. Take these, put them in your house, and if your kids lose one or two, call me back, man. We'll give you some more.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like we're at the end of this sales
Yep.
conversation, and you're going to sell me, at least a 60-cent pen for a dollar. You're going to sell me five, so you made 40-cent profit. Probably can't pay your, can't buy a toothbrush with
I
that.
could maybe buy another pen for myself.
Okay. Now I can tell you didn't watch my video, so thank you
No,
for
I didn't. I
watching.
didn't watch your videos. You asked me not to, so I didn't do it.
Thank you so much. So this is perfect. Now you're one of the smoother talkers, and just that you care about who you're talking about. You want, it to be about something they really need and to be a good decision for them. And you already, like, I paused and said, okay, I can tell you're being conscientious and going, man, this isn't right for you, and
Hmm.
I got better pens, but it doesn't sound like you could use them. So let's break it down now. If
Sure.
Let's call it over, and let's say, okay, you maybe I bought some pens from you, some dollar pens that were cost you 60 cents. So I spent $5. Your profit margin was 40 cents.
Hmm.
With the PTV method, you're going to be able to sell this pen. How much do you think I could sell you this pen for?
Probably a dollar,
That's
honestly. I would maybe pay a dollar for that pen. It looks like a nice pen.
okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's pretty decent. I like these pens.
I would probably want to buy like a pack of three for like 250 or $3, but yeah.
All right. What if I told you I could sell you this pen for $800,000?
I would say no, you can't. You could sell me a house for that much, but not a pen.
Says the real estate agent guy. I love that.
Yeah.
And if you're still doing real estate agent, real estate, selling, hey, everybody reach out to Sam for that.
Yeah. Oh, I wish, man. I let it all go.
Okay, well, at the end of the day, if I told you that I could sell you this pen for $800,000, it sounds like you don't believe me. So let's do that.
Mm-mm.
Give me a shot at selling you this pen. Now, again, I'm going to break down the PTV method after we do this. I'm going to tell you
Okay.
what I'm doing. I might even third person kind of show you what's happening between you and I as we go. So I'll just like air quote or parentheses some moment. So let's go. All right, you ready, Sam? I'm going to sell you
I'm
this for
ready.
$800,000.
All right. Do I have the same pens that you had? I'm lugging around 10.
I don't care what you got. I want
All
you to
right.
talk about your real life because that's what I just did. I just talked
My
about
real life pen.
no.
Here you go. Real life pen.
Perfect. Okay. So without knowing that, I'd just say, hey, Sam, of course, appreciate your time today. Uh, do you have a pen?
I do. Yeah, I have a pen right here, actually.
Okay, so you got a pen within, grabbing distance of you. On a scale of 1 to 10, because there's a lot of pens out there in the world. I myself,
Hmm.
of course, you wouldn't know this, but I myself carry a bunch of 10-cent big pens everywhere because I got kids. I don't want to worry about, losing a good quality pen. You know, is this your only pen in the house?
It's not the only pen in the house. This is just the one that's closest to me.
Okay. How many pens do you say you have in the house?
Oh, gosh. Oh man. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 20. It's hard to say. They're lying around in random drawers.
Okay, so there's a random drawer problem in your home. You don't know where your next pen is. So let's say
Hmm.
this pen that's on your desk right now, if you needed to write with that pen, and I mean, like it was the most important thing you were going to write, and you had to rely on that pen on your desk, scale of 1 to 10, how well is it going to write?
Do I have an extra piece of paper to scribble on first to make sure it actually writes? Because I don't even know if I've used this pen.
Yeah, you would have to know 1,000% that you got to rely on that pen.
I assume it works, but honestly, man, I don't think I've actually used this pen. It's just in my drawer.
Okay, so if like Ed McMahon walked in right now and said, "We're going to, knock on your door, and the first person we can find that
Hmm.
can grab a pen, you got to grab it in less than 15 seconds."
It's not this one.
You can't. Okay, so it's 0 to 10, 0 to 10. Rate that one. Your confidence level.
In that situation, it's a zero because you know why? I have a pen in another drawer that I actually write down grocery lists. I've used it. It works. I'm getting that one.
Okay, so how far away is that pen from you right now?
Oh man, it's through a couple doors. It's probably about 50 feet.
Okay, so 50 feet. How far and fast can you run in 50 feet?
I'm in socks and the floors are slippery, so it depends how many times I fall. But let's just say 10 seconds.
10 seconds. You're in socks though. I mean, if you had to fall and
All
get
right.
up, how much time would
Uh,
it take? If you and
It,
I,
it's it it's taken a couple minutes.
okay, so not 30 seconds.
No, probably not. It's probably gonna take a couple minutes to get everything ready.
So the probability of you grabbing a pen that you can't warm up, you have to write, and it worked the first time in under 30 seconds. It to me it sounds like zero. Could you confirm that?
It's a zero. Yeah.
So if you and I were standing next to each other and I got this pen, the one that I had just written with, like before Ed McMahon walks in the room, and he goes, Sam, it's your lucky day. If you can find a pen in less than 30 seconds and sign this check, we're going to give you $1 million. How much do you think this pen that I've got in my hands ready to hand you is worth?
Under about $1 million because I'm about to sign $1 million check. So
I mean, if we're good friends, 50-50, let's split it. But if
yeah.
I'm going, hey Sam, I just found out and I know you well enough
Yep.
to know where the next pin is, then I could get this to you for $800,000. And I need you to think of it just as, hey, Ed McMahon walked in and gave you a $200,000 check. Would
I'm
you
still
agree?
clearing $200,000 check. Yeah.
So I just sold you this pin for $800,000. And how much time did it take me to get you would agree to
Now, I
give?
wasn't looking at the clock, but only a couple minutes, only a few minutes.
And can you imagine the time that we spent where you were trying to sell me?
Hmm.
It was probably three times as much.
I think so.
So everybody out there, this is called the PTV method. At first, you need to drill into pain. When you're on a discovery call, you're either going to do two things. Sam did this. Sam, you did really good at this, better than anybody who's ever done it. You figured
Wow. I appreciate that.
you figured out that I was a gain sale. You couldn't find pain, so you figured out I was a gain. And we didn't rehearse this. I asked you
Hmm.
not even to watch any of my videos. So the P in PTV is this a pain sale or a gain sale? More often than not, when it's a gain sale, those deals closed anywhere right around 12 months in all the SaaS companies I worked at. If it's a gain, it's a nice to have. You do it when you have budget. It's probably not this year. It's 12 to 24 months on average, 12 months being the case. But and this is how I was so successful in closing. I closed $4 million in less than 13 months at a company we both worked at. And
I
I
saw
have
it.
literally it's because when I talk to people, I found out what the pain was. But you notice I didn't just say, okay, you're not confident in that pain.
Hmm.
Kept digging. I need to know where the next pin was, and I need to
Mm.
know if you had to run and if you fell and how much time. This is called digging to the root of the pain. You need to know what's lying under the pain under the pain under until you
Mm.
fully grasp all the pain there, and then you use that pain gap to leverage and ask, okay, in a scenario where you need that pen, right? This is called the transition phrase. You got a phrase that you're going to ask. For me, it was if Ed McMahon walked in and you need to rely on that pen, is that the pen? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And you decided, and you referenced all the pain building that I did, and go, yeah, I'm screwed, right? It took me
Hmm.
a second to go, oh yeah, I'm done. Like
Yeah.
you've already built this pain gap for me. So, first step, build the pain or gain. You need to understand which it is. If it's gain, like you were doing, hey, look, sounds like we're not right for you. And I'm on to the next customer. Hold them or
Hmm.
fold them, right? Don't sit there and play a hand that you know you're going to lose. Or don't pretend to build a pipeline on gain and then your boss go, why aren't you closing? Why can't don't have $2 million of gain sales and trying to close deals in under 45 days. You got to have pain and document that in the deal where it's at. So pain or gain, then your transition phrase. A lot of the SaaS sellers out there may use this one. I use it a lot. It's like, okay, so what happens if you do nothing about this?
Hmm.
Let them talk.
Mm.
What do you mean? Can you throw more bodies at it? Can you throw more money at it? Can are you just going to get by? And when they tell you that's the most painful thing they've got, agree with them.
Mm.
And then go on to the third phase of PTV. And that's where you share the value of the product. Well, listen, this pen right here is the one that you could always count on, right? This now I'm going to tell my value, but never do you just, hey, this is so and so company. Here's the products we sell. Here's the value we've given to
Oh yeah.
everybody else.
Yeah.
That's because then you're just wasting all your time. You could be on a 5 minute call and figure out there's no pain here and get off the call and go back to being an SDR and trying to
Oh
get.
yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I think it really matters to be confident enough to get to a no and be okay to be told no. So you can just go and find that yes, like you said. I think that's really important.
yeah. So that's how I developed the PTV method to say, I don't care what all the letters of Medic are. All I care about is building a paying pipeline. I want my marketing and my SDR outbound and inbound leads to have paying hooks in them that I'm gonna, fully dig into and find out, hey, where's again, use creativity and the imagination to go, okay, so if Russia attacks you and you know that this tool is not giving you the visibility into the controls that you have, what are you gonna do?
Hmm.
Who are you gonna call? And they're like, yeah, I would have to call somebody. Well, hey, my company is there to be there for you. Our SLAs are this. We're here to provide that service for you and then talk about your value. So what are your thoughts so far? I mean, would you
I
say
like it.
successful in closing an 800K deal?
I think so, man. You surprised me with that for sure. I mean, I thought I could be a little bit of a stick in the mud here and say, nope, I'm not buying that $800,000 pen, but you sold me, man.
Hey, that's what
That's
it's.
what it's all about.
So yeah, I mean, I was spearheading a $268 million deal as a federal AE based on, understanding that I had a value in a contract vehicle that could close deals faster, and they were up against, 18-month contract closing times.
Hmm.
So, gosh, aren't y'all tired of spending all that money on, and I found pain through that. It doesn't matter if the pain is you're selling pens, you're selling firewalls, you're selling some SaaS software, you're selling yourself and you've got to find pain. And
Yeah.
and what your company offer and what you do solve that or be a leading edge and a leading foot for you. So, dude, what are your thoughts? I mean,
Yeah, I no, I like it a lot, man. Because that the thing about that about finding the pain is that the pain point is also personal, and so I think when you can switch that customer's mindset from oh I'm on a sales call, let's listen to this blurb about this technology to well let me actually tell them what's really going on here. I think you're actually switching their mindset. It's becoming a more personal conversation. This isn't just I'm gonna get sold to and then I'll be on to the next call. Like I just need to get through these 30 minutes, tell this guy to thank you and goodbye and move on. I think getting to that personal level with that customer, that pain point's a really, really effective avenue there. Yeah, I don't do it enough in my own life, but I think after this I'm going to be.
yeah, I mean, you hit on the psychology of it because I realize, whether you're a spiritual person or not, a lot of people just carry pain around them.
Hmm.
The whole adage of misery loves company. So collectively, people carry pain with them, right? And maybe they're in a work environment that's not a good culture
Yeah.
that deals with things, or it's we're a small company, we're growing. There's a lot of pains that are put like you got to do three hats versus one, all that stress. Your IT people, if you're selling SaaS, they carry that around. So if you can help them figure out what pains they're carrying and help weigh them and figure out if you can do something right away about it, you're going to be the guy that they choose.
Yeah.
It's important. At
No,
least,
I totally agree in the value part. I think that's universal as well. At the start, we were talking about sales engineers and account execs and SDRs. The value is universal. You're all in the same team. So knowing that value, you can relay that no matter what role you're in. And it's really, really important to know what that value is, to know what you're going to say at that point when you've revealed the pain like you did, and knowing that value, it really brings it all to a close.
yeah, yeah, and even to keep it going through the pipeline, there I've got a good infographic. I haven't had it branded yet, but I'm building and I hope to share out there on the website soon. Is I was speaking with the COO of a company that helps HubSpot, deployments get better. It's called Set to Close. And I
Hmm.
was with them and they go, you're right, Jonathan, because when we find pain, whether, it's the AE or the sales engineer, really as a delivery person, when I'm going to, write an SOW for this, I need to know
Mhm.
what that pain is, and I need to know that pain to execute a plan for these people. I need to know what's the problem,
Hmm.
right? You don't just show up and go, okay, well, what are all the tools you're using? I don't just need to know what there is in their toolbox. I need to know what the heck the pain is so I know a before and after end state, right? And can build a SOW.
Yeah.
So anything that's hanging out in legal and is getting delayed because we haven't defined a SOW around a pain point, and it's just like we're going to install CrowdStrike or Zscaler. Well, what's the pain? That can help define the scope, and it can also protect your company to make sure maybe they got a pain point that's not in scope. So
Yeah.
you're not going to go waste your man and energy, engineering hours on things that you don't need to be doing. So I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know you and I've been on
Oh
this
yeah.
team, but anybody out there watching this video, I hope you gained something. If you like, this exercise and you want to be, interviewed as well, hop on my website, get on there. I do a monthly thing too. You can go to a webinar on Eventbrite. But again, from top to bottom, Sam, thanks for, sharing some time with me today, man. I
Oh,
hope
of course.
was this a valuable call for you?
Oh, absolutely, man. This was a gift, man. Anytime I get to spend with you, man, it's always valuable. So I really appreciate it.
Well, dude, I hope to stay in touch. Can't wait to see your little ones grow up and in the nice
Yeah.
way, I hope.
Yeah, likewise, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome.